Well, I'm excited to introduce our keynote speaker for tonight. He didn't like when he got off the plane. He said it's too cold, you know. And I said, "You're from Denver, man. You should be used to it." He said, "No, it's really cold here." And he had a brief stint in Chicago at his days at Anderson, but I just over the last couple of years, I've watched what Chris has done, and he has really set the company on fire. And he's modest and he won't talk about himself, so I'll just say one thing. Just a few weeks ago, we were out in Las Vegas, and we had our annual convention. There was a few thousand of us there, and we kind of recognized who were all the top advisors and the top, company builders. And out of everyone that was in that convention, when we didn't know this before we had invited him, he was actually the MVP of all 2019 for the whole company, the division that we're in. And we're like, oh my God, he's coming to our office in a few weeks. So we're excited to have him because he's going to tell you his journey, how he got started here in 1999, and really what that journey looks like. It's really an incredible story that I think you're going to enjoy tonight. And we're honored to have him. He's here tonight as a favor to us. Let's welcome Executive Vice Chairman Chris Felton.
Okay, how's everybody doing?
Good.
You guys excited?
Yes.
All right. Well, it's great to be with you guys. There's podiums, there's cameras, there's... Are we good? Because I like to move around. I have to move within a foot here. So I'm going to get rocking with you guys. It's a pleasure to be with you guys tonight. And really excited about launching some campaigns here and really telling you guys our story. And it's great to be here, and you might be here for different reasons. First and foremost, you might be a client, and if you're a client, we say thank you, because without you guys trusting us with your financial journey, we're not in business at all. So thank you guys very much. You might be here as what we call a center of influence, where you're really important to whoever invited you. They're trying to get a business off the ground. They're trying to get rocking and rolling. And it's important that you know what they do, so they're hoping that you sing from the rooftops, so to speak, about what we're up to. You might be here like I was 21 years ago, frustrated with your career, wanting to make a bigger impact, wanting to make more money, and you're really here listening for the career opportunity. You might be here for the food, and you can care less what I have to say. Is that anybody? One of you. None of you? All right, cool. You're all here to hear me. Wow, I feel privileged. So anyway, if you're here and you're just zoning me out because you're full, that's cool, whatever. Go have another cocktail, and hopefully you'll learn some stuff from us tonight. You might be here loving what you do, but you could stand to make more money. Who could stand to make more money, right? That's good. Right, I've yet to have anyone say, Chris, don't talk about that. My bank called me today. They said my account's full. Not going to happen. But that's a recurring theme what I'm going to talk about tonight is people just have to bring more money in. And the trading of time for money is just not going to make it work. So great to have you guys here as well. But for whatever reason you're here, what this meeting is not, it's not a big convincing sales pitch thing. How great WealthWave and our firm is. We're going to talk about that. In fact, we've given you guys some feedback forms. At the very bottom of it, there's a box that says no. So that means no, don't bother me, don't follow up with me. We're not going to chase you after the parking lot and call you every day for the next 3 months. Is that fair? Right? I made the business decision many years ago. It's kept me sane that I was going to be in the business of looking for people looking for me. Okay? So if you're not looking for us, that's totally cool. If you are, please do follow up. But I really want to talk to that center of influence group first, because you're really important to whoever invited you. Who's ever tried to get a business off the ground on their own? Easy? Hard? Pretty difficult, right? The statistics say 80% of small businesses fail in the first couple of years. 75% of small businesses break even or lose money. Is that crazy? I mean, that's a crazy statistic. And so my personal journey of how my center of influence transformed my life is I call it, I'm a recovered CPA. Is there any CPAs in the group? Right? Cool, great. So I'm fully recovered. 12-step program. First step's denial. And I'm kind of a funny CPA. It's a little weird, a little dry humor. Got to hang with me. But I was horrible at this business. I spent the whole first year basically talking people out of doing business with. And if you've ever left a safe corporate career to go do something entrepreneurial, and back at that time, headhunters are calling me, My friends are going to go get stock options and CFO jobs. It's like literally, I was so bad at the business, but I was literally mentally hiring and firing myself like 7 or 8 times a day. I'm like, live the dream, go for the comfort, live the dream, go. And I was literally here, so I'm not successful. Businesses, the markets are bad. And I'm really unsure if I was going to continue in this business. And almost as a last-ditch effort, I reached out to my best friend. I actually saw him a couple of nights ago. I said, Steve, I want you to come to an overview. It was a lunchtime meeting. I didn't have any money, so we didn't have any food. And so everyone started while I spoke, and I'm all excited and pumped up. He's like, it's not one of those like Amway timeshare pitch deals, is it? Like, please don't invite me to one of those. Has anybody ever been to something like that? Yeah, probably some of you are probably thinking about that as you're coming down. Is it one of those deals? It's not. But he was looking at me that way, and I just kind of fessed up. I said, hey, dude, here's the deal. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this. I want you to hear about what I'm doing. I want to get your feedback first and foremost, most importantly. And so he said, okay. So got up, gave the overview, came up to me. He said, love you, love your heart for what you're doing, love your mission. Let me go to work for you. And then he left. He like poof, ran out the door. And I didn't know what he meant, but literally over the next 60 days, he made 30 introductions to people he knew. And he wasn't caught up in, are they going to be clients? Are they coming on board? He just said, hey, you know what? Chris, you're a good guy. You need a break. You need a new network. Here's the 30 best people that you need to know. Y'all figure it out. And literally transformed my career. I saw him the other night. He brought me another phenomenal client that we're going to help and serve. But we've helped 4,000 people from that original list. I track it still today. It absolutely transformed my life, transformed my business. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on. And the reason why he's wildly financially independent is because he believes in what's called the law of givers gain. The law of givers gain. And what happens is the middle class, we get busy, we kind of make it all about us, we get in our own stuff, and we kind of, not intentionally, not, bad thought process, but we just get so busy, we forget to reach out and connect and give and do those things. And so the reason I'm bringing that up is if you're here not interested in anything I have to say, but you're important to somebody that invited you, please take the time, follow up with them, connect with them, see what you guys can do to help them out. And also, it's not just one-way street. In Denver, we're known as great connectors, networkers, those things too. We don't necessarily always need to be in business with each other to help each other. Does that make sense? I love masterminding. I love when two or more minds come together in support of each other. Amazing things happen. And so please do that with whoever invited you. That would be awesome. We would appreciate it. And I built my whole business that way. So for those that are here looking at the business, we think we have a pretty compelling story for you. And really, we're going to talk about financial literacy and the fact that people really don't know how money works. In fact, 96% of Americans retire broke on less than $14,000 a year of income. That's pretty shocking, right? We live in one of the richest countries on the planet, and most people, they just never learn how money works. But the way our industry is geared is they don't like you unless you have a lot of money, okay? So there's a firm out there, I'll change the name to protect them, but their name is Laryl Mitch. And I give them a little grief, but I got some really good friends over there that do great things for their clients. They've actually been through my overview because they want to figure out where to put the throwaway clients, so to speak, that aren't important enough for them. But Merrill, and they're actually proud of the fact that they really only look at the top 1% to 2% of net worth. In fact, their VP of advisors sent out an email a couple years ago, that said, hey, advisors, if you're dealing with broke people, defined as $250,000 or less of investable assets, that's broke in their world. If you're working with these broke people, we can't pay you on these broke people anymore. We're going to kick them over to 800 number. They're not your clients anymore. That's awesome, right? I mean, how does that roll? It's just that person, not as an investor, they're in the top 15% of investors, but not just as investors, just as consumers. Right? Could that person get a realtor to get them into a home? You guys know realtors, right? You could probably get them in the home, right? Mortgage people can help, right, finance that transaction. This time of year, you can find a CPA to do a tax return. You can get car insurance. You can do what I did, right? In O'Hare, I went up to Starbucks. I ordered my tall, coffee with a little room. The barista didn't go, I don't know, Mr. Felton, what's your net worth? I need to see if you qualify for this coffee purchase. I must talk to my underwriters. No, what did they do? They gave me my damn coffee. Why? Because they are focusing on serving the middle market and the middle class, and our industry just has had it wrong for decades. And our industry hasn't grown. It's been in a 30% decline for the last several decades. It's not growing. The average age of someone in our industry is 62, and it's not that 62 is old. It's just 20 years ago it was 42. It's mainly old white guys like me, okay? There's no diversity anywhere in our industry, where ours is massively diverse. We're the #1 firm for females, like almost 2-to-1 female advisors on the planet. You go to our convention, I mean, it's 18-year-olds and 80-year-olds, black, white, purple, plaid, it doesn't really matter, right? We're totally the anti-industry. And so our firm, before I showed up, said, you know, we got to do something about this. How do we serve this niche called the other 96%? Well, we looked to an industry that was actually growing at that time. It's called the real estate industry. So we looked at RE/MAX, Keller Williams, Century 21. These are firms you guys have probably heard of. And we said, man, it's funny. Like, they have full-time agents, they have part-time agents, they have spare time agents, they have no-time agents, right? They have all those things, right? Where, like, if Anthony wants to get involved, he goes to Merrill Lynch, or he goes to Morgan Stanley or Northwestern Mutual, all really good firms. He goes full-time out of the gate. The model is actually to get rid of him in the first couple of years. 90% of the time, he's gone in the first 2 years. They dropped $150,000 investing in his growth, and it just hasn't worked. So we said, well, what if we took that real estate model and we threw it over financial services, where almost everybody comes on board part-time. So in my business in Denver, 60% of my group is part-time, 40% is full-time, okay? A lot of my part-timers never want to become full-time. They just know that they have to bring more income in. They need to make more money. They get matched up with a full-timer, so we make sure that the quality is there. What if the majority of our people didn't really have experience in the industry? What if we could help put, you know, $25 a month away? What if we could help manage, you know, 401k plans for Fortune 500 companies? What if we could offer every financial product on the planet from every firm? We weren't captive like a lot of like Northwestern. What if? So what do you think the industry said? Dumb, wouldn't work, right? Well, what happened is we've kind of smoked, right? And we've gone from 10,000 licensed agents to 45,000 here in the last decade. And then what helped, you know, solidify on the financial services broker-dealer side is a firm called Transamerica stepped in 2012, and they used to have that old school model of, bring somebody on board, invest in them, lose them. And they said, you know what, we're not in that business anymore. We need your guys' model. You need our name. And so January 6th of 2012, 8 years ago, Mark, unbelievable. 8 years ago, that firm showed up. And the headwinds of, you guys are kind of weird, you're different, and all that stuff, it all went away. And so there's no secret why we've had just record year after record year after record year. And we're just exploding. And we're exploding out here. We're exploding all over the United States. And so, you know, that might interest you, or you at least know some people that might interest, and we want to talk to them. And what I launched in Colorado is what I'm going to help these guys launch a little bit here, but they're going to take it on, is this is a big issue. And we want to stamp out financial literacy in this whole state, okay? Nobody's excited about that except for me. Okay, so I'm excited about it. And I launched it about 3 weeks ago with my guys. And I said, you know what? What we need to do is we need to actually really get on a mission, and a mission of a massive problem that we have. And it's the fact that people don't know how money works. Okay, we don't learn this stuff in school. I'll get into my story here in a second. I'm a CPA. I never took a class on personal finance ever. I took the CPA exam once. I worked for one of the largest one of the largest accounting firms in the world, in Arthur Andersen. I thought I was pretty smart. When I came to this firm, I was totally financially illiterate. I was $45,000 in school debt. I was spending 108%. I did not know how money worked. And so what's happening in Colorado, and I know what's happening here, is if people don't understand how money works, they're left to their own devices. And unfortunately, when people are left to their own devices and they don't have the right literacy, they either do nothing or they screw it up. And the problem is the industry doesn't care about you. In fact, the less you know, the more they make. You guys get that? You're picking up what I'm throwing down, right? Because here's the thing. What do banks pay you when you put money with them? 0.09%. Is that exciting? Who's our first trust friend just talking about? Some good stuff. What do they charge you on credit cards on average? 17%, 18%. You guys see something wrong here? So what's happened is for hundreds of years, most of you have lost, and the industry's won. Well, that stops. That stops right now. It stopped in Colorado about a month ago, and I'm out here to make sure that you guys understand that it needs to stop here. And we have to get financial literacy out to the masses, okay? And so how we're going to do that is a couple of my friends wrote a book. It's called How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. Now, when you guys go to a bank and you put money in your 0.09% savings account, you guys ever notice what kind of suckers are on the counter? Dum-dums. So not only are they paying you 0.09% and charging 18%, they're giving you a sucker to rub your face in. And so stop being a sucker. This is so funny. My best friend that helped me get my business launched, he said, you got to come meet my friend. And he's talking to me about all this stuff. He's a coach. He's phenomenal. The guy's smart. He's got an MBA. He does not know how money works. I said, brother, start reading the book. Take you about an hour to read. He got through it. Got 30 minutes. He texted me last night. We were on the call today. He said, you know what? I'm a sucker. We need to talk. I don't know how money works, brother. And so what happens is, so Tom Matthews is really the brainchild master behind WealthWave. And then there's a guy named Steve Siebold. So is anybody into personal growth and personal development at all? Okay, so Steve Siebold, if you get nothing out of my talk, has written some amazing books that have transformed my life. And one of the pervasive things you're going to hear from me is if we don't change how we think, we're not going to change our lives. End of story. If we don't change how we think around money, our lives don't change. We hope it changes. Hope's not a very good method. It's not a very good strategy. So Steve Siebold has basically spent his life interviewing 1,400 multimillionaires, billionaires, and basically understand there's a middle-class group of people, there's an upper-class group of people, and then there's a world-class group of people. And we sometimes mistake the world class with the upper class. The upper class are on the tabloids. They're all about the ego. They're all about themselves. World-class people, you don't really know who they are. They don't pound their chest. They're not ego-driven. They're spirit-driven. They give a ton of money. They're very wealthy because they solve problems. So basically, Steve spent his life interviewing the world-class people, and he's written some books you might want to pick up. One is called 177. Just write 177 down, and then get a book from one of these guys. You get the author, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. Absolutely phenomenal. He wrote a book called How Rich People Think. Absolutely mandatory if you want to change your relationship with money. And I could go on and on about how that stuff changed my life, because I didn't grow up privileged at all. And then he wrote a book called Secrets of Self-Made Millionaires Teach Their Kids. So if you guys leave tonight and you get nothing, grab everything you can of Steve Siebold, read it, get it to your kids, get it to your grandkids, help them change the way they think, and then their lives will ultimately change. Does that make sense? Okay, message on that one. But, so what happened is Steve has done that. His clients are Mercedes-Benz, Caterpillar, GE. This guy basically flies around and teaches organizations how to develop mental toughness, right, in what they do, which is a great skill. And so what happened is he said, you know what, I'm really intrigued in the firms. He'd been a vendor to us doing that training for us. He decided to do a 6-month research project on our company. Okay? He's like, are you guys for real? And he went to our company. He said, don't pay me because I don't want to feel like I'm, conflicted here. Don't pay me. I'm just going to interview all these guys. I was the first guy he interviewed. Very fortunate. 30 of us he interviewed. And at the end of that interview, he did a 6-month research project, paid a group of 6 people, dug us inside and out. His wife turned to him and said, you're getting a little obsessed with these guys. She's like, why don't you join them? So a year ago, he did. Pretty badass, is it not? Right? Technical term on. Well, then he came together with Tom. He said, you know what? I'm going to talk about mental toughness as it relates to money. Tom is the strategy guy on how money works, the technical. And then there's a guy named Andy Horner who's literally got one of the best marketing companies on the planet. Our firm's tried to buy it like 4 or 5 different times. And so who likes financial books with like print like this and black and white lettering, and you're like literally with it, you guys love it? Well, this one has pictures. It's like pictures? Right? We use jelly beans for money, okay? And so basically these guys wrote this book, they sent it to me, and what's happening is the media loves it. These guys will be in the media 50 times in 2020. They will be on the Ellen Show, Good Morning America, CNBC, you name it, Today's Show, because we're getting the message out that, you know what? Everybody wants to be financially literate. They just had never known where to turn until now. You got it? So, get a book, right? Ask for a book from whoever invited you. Make sure you guys get a book. The reason we're also excited about it is from a career standpoint, my guys are getting excited about handing good things to people to start a conversation, not sell something. Anyway, I can go on. I need to keep moving. This is literally the most exciting, 21 years I've been doing this, most exciting tool I've ever had in my hands. Mark, would you agree? You've been doing this a long time, brother. And it's just cool what's happening. And people are giving this to their kids and their grandkids and their spouses. And last story on this, one of our guys struck up a conversation with a 30-year financial services guy in a restaurant, gave him a book. His wife has been married to him for 40 years. Guess what she doesn't know? She doesn't know how money works. She's married to a guy that's been in the industry for 30 years. She picks up the book, reads half of it at dinner, and says, I've learned more in 30 minutes reading this book than I've learned being married to you for 40 years. You need to look at this company. These guys are on a mission. They're not out to sell stuff. They're out to make a difference. And that's why I flew from a freezing state to a more freezing state. Freaking cold here. To come talk to you guys tonight because I'm excited about this mission. You got it? All right. All right. I'll shut up on you. So how I got here, my turning point. I'm a recovered CPA. So here's my turning point. I had just got done working. Has anybody ever worked like 120 hours in a 6-day period? I'm sure you guys are all back. Done. Don't do it anymore, right? Anyway, and so what happened was I was supervising a group of 8 people. I was an auditor for Arthur Andersen in Denver, Colorado, and we were working with a publicly traded mortgage company, and we had a deadline that fell the day after Easter Sunday. And so Easter Sunday in my household, that was my mom's deal, okay? She loved Christmas, she loved Thanksgiving, but there's like, I mean, if I work Easter Sunday, there's going to be a smoking crater where I once stood, right? Like, that's just not going to happen in my household. And so I'm supervising these guys. I'm like, I got to get it done. These guys were behind. They were slow. So basically, I was getting home at 1 in the morning. I was basically taking a nap. I was back at the office at 4 a.m. So I did that. And I'm just pounding coffee. And I'm like talking to the client. If you've ever worked that much, like your body, it's just a mess. You got caffeine coursing. Like my veins are like coursing. My client's like, what's wrong with you? And all that stuff. So I lived with my brother. He didn't know what happened to me because I was getting home when he was in bed and I was leaving and he was still in bed. So he's leaving me voicemails. I'm not returning him his calls. So anyway, we got it done. And we got done Saturday, 11 o'clock at night. I got up early, okay? And I come home, and my brother's waiting up for me, and it was like an intervention. Has anybody ever been involved in an intervention? Targeted intervention? Has that ever happened to you? And he's just looking at me, and he said, what are you doing? He's like, are you selling drugs? Like, that's where he went, right? He's like, you're like going all hours of the night. Like, are you selling drugs? Like, what's going on here? And I'm tired. And have you ever been just tired? And you don't want to, like, don't poke the bear, right? And And I'm like, get off me, man. I'm busy. Right? Because that's middle class. That's kind of, right? We're talking about world-class thinking and middle-class thinking. Middle class is like, if I'm busy, things must be working out. Right? And then you add if I'm needed. So I was busy and needed. So it must be working out. And what my brother did is he kind of got in my kitchen that night, was he woke me up out of my hypnotic state, right? I'm a big fan of Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. And he talks about this thing called hypnotic trance. And basically 91% of our thoughts today are the same as they were yesterday. And so if we don't do something to that other 9% or start intentionally shifting the other 91%, it's kind of like Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. Right? It's just you wake up, you go to work, you come home, you go to bed, you wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed, wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed. Rinse, repeat, and you're hoping, once again, you're hoping something changes out here. And unless you wake up from your hypnotic state and you start to think differently, it doesn't change. So he irritated me enough where I started actually doing the last thing I wanted to do, which was think. I mean, it's kind of like what we do as humans. Like, we will do anything to avoid actually doing thinking. So we'll get opinions from the most ridiculous people, right, instead of actually thinking. And so the question that popped in my head is, how did I get here? So he's yelling at me, and I'm tuning out, and I'm like, how did I get here? Well, I grew up in Loveland. I'm thinking like Loveland, Colorado, 60 miles north of Denver. My parents argued over money. They fought over money. They stressed over money. They divorced over money. 60% of divorces are tied back to financial stress. One of the reasons my wife and I wrote a book a few years ago called Couples Money, because we were going down that path, and we decided to do something different. And so, but my parents didn't know how money worked. The 5 leading killers in the United States today are all stress-related illnesses. Okay, my mom worked her whole life, saved $10,000, passed away at 64 with colon cancer, right? It's $10,000 in the bank. And they said, colon cancer was the reason, but I think the root cause was stress related to financial reasons. I can't really prove that, but from the time she was 5 until she was 64, it's always worried about where money's coming from. I don't know if you can relate to that. I hate financial stress. It's a horrible thing. My dad passed away 2 years ago, March 1st. He made it to 88. Have no idea how he made it to 88. He had every stress-related illness on the planet. Died broke and then added a $75,000 assisted living bill to it. Okay. So where did I get my money cues from? Them, right? But they said, hey, son, go to school, get good grades, get a good job with good benefits, don't rock the boat, don't take risks, and when you're 65, it's going to turn out okay. Who got that story? How's that one working? Gone are the days of working for a company for 4 years, getting a pension and vote. Those days are gone. The economy's changed. So I went to Colorado State University. Is there any CSU grads? Okay, cool. You guys don't know CSU. So let me just enlighten you. It's called the Harvard of the West. So I'm proud of my son. He's at Vanderbilt. He just finished his first semester at Vanderbilt. Kid's wicked smart. I'm not. But when he was applying for school, he's like, Dad, CSU is like a 92% acceptance rate, right? Like, go Dad. Anyway, so all the schools he's looking at are like 8 to 10%. Anyway, so CSU is really not Harvard of the West. However, good for me. But I got an accounting degree, and then I moved down to Denver in 1993 and went to work for Anderson. I did real well there because when I was a young kid, my dad said, if you want to get ahead in life, you must work really what? Hard, right? And how's that working? Unfortunately, there's a lot of hardworking broke people. And hard work ethic's great. And I have one of those. But I think you need to be in the right vehicle. If you're trying to get from LA to New York, you can either choose an F-16 or skateboard. And unfortunately, the trading of time for money is the skateboard. And if being free from money worries, that skateboard is going to take you a long time. And obviously, I'm out here because I believe in our vehicle being the F-16. It's been that for me and my wife, very fortunate for it. But Anderson loved my work ethic. And so much, they took care of me. I had great travel benefits. I go to Elko, Nevada, Riverton, Wyoming, Scottsdale, Nebraska, Tashkent, Uzbekistan. These aren't places you want to. Uzbekistan, you don't want to go to Uzbekistan. Never go to Uzbekistan. And so, you know, and anyway, so it was good. But then my brother was waking me up from it. And so we finished our argument. I started really thinking. I looked at the guy who was 10 years ahead of me. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want his life. And then I picked up a book called Think and Grow Rich. Notice the thinking part first. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So I'm going to talk a lot about our business today. The reason I talk about some of these things is I always want people leaving here with value. So get your hands on some of the stuff that I'm talking about so you can have a better life. Okay, that's part of my mission too, is get you thinking differently so you can have a better life. Think and Grow Rich is a mandatory read. How that was written, Napoleon Hill wrote it. He was 20 years old when he got connected to a guy that was basically the Jeff Bezos of our time, a guy named Andrew Carnegie. He was 20, he was freelancing for a magazine. He had a 3-hour window to interview the wealthiest man in the world. So if there's anybody in this crowd that's like 20-ish, be like you going to Jeff Bezos and saying, hey, I want to interview you for 3 hours. Except Carnegie made sure that the interview went as long as he felt it needed, which it went 3 days. So you can, and all Napoleon Hill did is, how did you create your success? And then 3 days later, he's got notes. And then Carnegie, operating under intuition, which is very important to becoming wealthy, he said, here's the deal. Here's what I think people need. What they need more than anything is they need to understand the rules that create success in life. And unfortunately, schools don't teach you the rules that create success in your life. Most parents don't really understand the rules or the laws. It's like there's a law of gravity that you better understand, okay? But people aren't taught these laws. They're not taught these rules. And he said, well, here's the deal. You need to write this book, and it's probably going to take you decades. My role is I'm going to introduce you to my friends. So I want you to go meet this guy named Henry Ford. There's something about him. He says he's going to put the world on wheels. I don't know what that's about, but you need to go see this guy. And then you got to go meet this guy named Edison. And then you got to go meet this guy named Vanderbilt, Rockefeller, Carnegie. 8 presidents, 5 prime ministers. So what I want you to do is I want you to find my 500 friends. I'll make the introduction. Because I'm making the introduction, they will meet with you as much as you want. I want you to go through, and then of those 500 people, I want you to find the common denominators and make all 500 people successful. There's 14 of them. You might want to get the book. Because whether it's successful business, marriage, health, spiritual life, you name it, you got to understand those laws. And then he interviewed 25,000 people that didn't hit what they wanted in their lives and said, oh, pretty simple, they were missing these points. So it's a foolproof deal. And it's a foolproof philosophy that's helped me tremendously. And the reason I'm bringing it up is there's a lot of people that do what we do, but I want you to understand why we do it, how we do it, and this is one of the things that we want to help people do. We got to get our clients to think different, and we got to get our advisors to think different. End of story. That's why I'm here.